for the kind introduction, and it's just a real pleasure to be here this evening with everyone. I can't tell you how grateful I am for the work that your organization and many others and the individuals on this call have put into my campaign. It's just really been an incredible outpouring of support, and just very grateful for that. Running for California's 13th Congressional District in the northern San Joaquin Valley. I grew up in the city of Merced in the dairy industry. My grandparents all farm, and the rest of my family are predominantly teachers. And like a lot of families that grew up in the San Joaquin Valley, we share this agricultural heritage, people that have immigrated to the valley from all over the world, oftentimes to farm or work with their hands and build a better life. I ran for Congress in 2022 after serving 10 years in the state legislature, really to take my style of politics, my style of leadership to the nation's capital. And what that style was comes from a place of a community where, you've got all these hardworking people that, like I said, come from all over the world and really collaborate and work together. My community doesn't reflect the hard partisan language that you see in national politics too often. And I had a great experience in the state legislature, founded the California Problem Solvers Caucus, worked with independents, Republicans, Democrats, and we did accomplish a lot. We built a University of California, Merced, in my hometown. We brought a medical school program to that university. We passed a bipartisan water bond, working with Jerry Brown, a bipartisan infrastructure act to fix our roads and bridges throughout the state and invest in public transit. And I guess I'm an optimist about what can be done when people work together. And I ran for Congress in 2022. We had an extraordinarily low turnout election, ended up losing that race in a really outlier year by 564 votes. Obviously a great disappointment. And I had to spend a little time reflecting if I was going to run again. I'd spent at that point almost 20 years involved in state politics, and I was named the most radical centrist member of the state legislature. So while for a lot of politicians talking about, working with everyone and being in the middle is a good campaign talking point in an election year, for me, it's been a lifelong commitment. I founded the New Dems and chaired them in Sacramento. The Problem Solvers Caucus had these successes, and all of my successes were really working with everyone in my region, which is a divided region. About half of our legislators are Republican, half of them are Democrats. And so I know it can be done. And watching this current Congress organize itself, which, as all of you saw on TV, took multiple votes and couldn't get a speaker and had to switch 3 or 4 people, and really just embarrassing our country. And it didn't stop there. They continued throughout the year to threaten our government with shutdowns, and most recently just went ahead and went home for summer break without doing any spending bills or finishing any work, and have put us on track for yet the threat of another government shutdown. I just don't think that's what our elected officials should be doing. I actually believe that you get hired to do a job, and like the hardworking people in my district, you ought to get to work and do that job. And that job involves compromise, and it involves working with other folks, and it can be done. And when you do it, great results for the community, safer communities, better schools, better healthcare. And unfortunately, this extreme Republican majority that we have right now is focused largely on taking things from others, or restricting someone else's rights, or taking some funding away that helps somebody else, and really taking advantage of their own constituents and my constituents, everyone in this country, by bringing out the worst in us of not thinking of other people, not thinking of the community, not sacrificing, but rather being angry about what maybe you don't have and somebody else does. And so while I was not sure I wanted to run in this hyper-polarized time again, I came to the conclusion that it was important that people that share my perspective, my view of the world, who believe that an elected official's job isn't to fight, but rather to work, are exactly the people that need to run for office. I talk to my constituents about that all the time. The overuse of the word fight. I'm fighting for you, I'm fighting for this, I'm fighting for that. It's gotten so absurd that In this past year, we've seen members of Congress and members of the U.S. Senate literally fighting, elbowing each other, fist fights in the nation's capital, acting like school children. And so, we're trying to set a different tone and take a different kind of campaign to Congress, and one that says, hey, we can all work together and we should. And you have a responsibility to your community to wake up every day and work hard for them. So appreciate the opportunity to be with you. And that's just a little bit about myself, and really looking forward to engaging in a dialogue and hearing your questions and seeing your questions. And again, thank you so much for the incredible hard work. We wouldn't be in the great position we are without your help. And I'm just so grateful for that help. So thank you.
Hey, Charlie.
Okay, welcome, Adam. Linda is wondering, what is the defining reason that you think you can win this seat this election year?
He's on mute again for some reason. Adam's on mute again.
Okay, let me stop the spotlight. I'm gonna unmute you, Adam.
Maybe if somebody new comes in, we don't mute them for this.
There we go. I think that was my fault.
Oh,
I think I
okay.
accidentally hit mute and then it wouldn't let me unmute.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay, good.
could you go ahead and repeat that question? I lost my train of thought.
Linda is wondering, what is the defining reason you can win this seat this election year?
Yeah, so this is a Democratic seat. In fact, this seat in the last 30 years or less has been held by a Democrat for 28 of them. The registration's about 46% Dem, 29% Republican, and a substantial no party preference or independent group. It's a district that voted for Biden by 11 points. It's a district that voted for Hillary Clinton at 53.6%. A district that voted for Barack Obama at 54% of the vote. And you'll notice that's a curiously similar number, 54, 54, 54 in presidential election years. In midterms, there's a pretty substantial decline in voter participation. That's true across the country in every campaign or congressional seat you'll look at. It just happens to be more true in the San Joaquin Valley. So in my seat, in the David Valadao seat that Rudy Salas is running for to the south of me, there's a steeper decline in participation in midterms, and we had a outlier horrific decline in 2022. And let me illustrate that, in real numbers and real percentages. In the midterm in 2014, Jerry Brown was our governor. He ran for office, got 52% of the vote in this seat as currently constructed. In 2018, Gavin Newsom got 52% of the vote in this seat. In 2022, Gavin Newsom got 45% of the vote in this seat. And I got 49.9, barely losing by 564 votes. So, as long as the voters show up, and that's some of the work that many of you have been doing, going door to door, educating voters, 6 months out, making the sending the postcards, making the phone calls. That's exactly why that work's so important, is because if people vote in this district, not only am I going to win, had I run in 2020 instead of 2022, the Democratic House candidate in 2020 received 26,000 more votes than the Republican House candidate in 2020. So it is a good Democratic district in presidential years. So not only can we win, the way we should talk about this seat is we should win. And, I've got my entire electoral history in this, in this district. My entire assembly district is nested within the congressional district. So 2/3 of the voters in this district have voted for me for the last 12 years as the Democratic nominee. So we're in a very strong position. And with your help, knocking on the doors, I think we're drawing attention to the election in the way we should. And frankly, I think with the energy around the Kamala campaign and of course the offensive nature of our former president, Donald Trump, I think voters are well aware that there's election and planning on getting engaged. And we've actually raised quite a bit of money this cycle. We've raised more money to date this cycle than we did the entire entirety of the last campaign. And there's still, 5 months to go here. So we're anticipating blowing through and having a lot more resources to spend on mail, to spend on TV. We got a ton of volunteer help. We have a Democratic district that's not only winnable, but it's winnable in a big way. And so this is absolutely a seat that hopefully we do so well that the Republicans poll in September, early October and run away, and we can turn our attention to fighting even harder for other seats too. But we'll see. We're going to stay in this fight right up until the last day, and very confident that we have a great chance to win.
Thank you so much. We're with you.